Hi guys, welcome back to Nerdy Chic Bookworm. I'm Alice and I am so sorry that it has been so long since I've done a video. I have so got out of rhythm with these videos lately. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's the summer holidays and my kids have been at home. But I promise, as soon as my kids go back to school in September, I will be back on track, getting in a rhythm. You know, starting a Booktube channel in 2020 was probably one of the stupidest things I did in hindsight, because I started this channel on the 15th of March. My first channel program went up, and after that it was like lockdown and the world just went to shit, and it all just went wrong. So I apologise to everybody who's been expecting to see videos for the last 3 weeks and there hasn't been anything. I'm really sorry, but as soon as my kids go back to school full time and I have my house to myself again and I have alone time and quiet time where I can actually do these videos, they will be coming up a lot more regularly. I promise. Today I have decided that I am going to do a sort of books that I knew very little about until I joined Booktube and listened to Bookstagram, went on Bookstagram on Instagram and sort of followed people and listened to other people's reviews and recommendations. These are 8 books I think I've got, which were they were in my vision, but I didn't really know that much about them. But it was by watching reviews and recommendations on other people's channels and seeing them on people's Bookstagram, because I've just got into Bookstagram as well. So seeing people on Bookstagram posting pictures of these books and kind of giving their reviews and things like that really has got me sort of more into these books. So these are books that I was forced to buy because of Booktube and Bookstagram. Let's begin. So the first one is probably one that you have seen so much of, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is a Hunger Games prequel, and this is following Cornelius Snow 60 years before the beginning of the first Hunger Games book. So this is set, I think it's the 10th? Yeah, it's the morning of the reaping that will kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games. And this follows Cornelius Snow. I think he's sort of like the main character in this. I got this for my birthday this year. I ordered it. I don't normally like hardbacks, but I ordered it in hardback for my birthday because it came out just before my birthday. And it was only today, and it was my son that pointed this out, my youngest son. He pointed it out. We always thought that was the head of the bird, and my son pointed out today that it's not. And I was really shocked. And I was like, oh my God, I've always thought that that's his face, and it's not. His face and beak are there. I thought that was the back of his head and that was the front of his head, and it's not. And I've had this book since May. That's bad. But yeah, that happened. So thank you to my son for pointing that out to me, because if it wasn't for him, I would never have seen that. So there's this one. You've probably seen this so many times on Instagram and Bookstagram and Booktube and Goodreads and all those kind of book places. It's a really big book. It's quite chunky. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. So I'll read the blurb for you so you kind of know what it's about in case you don't know. So it is the morning of the reaping that will kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games. In the capital, 18-year-old Cornelius Snow is preparing for his one shot at glory as a mentor in the games. The once mighty House of Snow has fallen on hard times, its fate hanging on the slender chance that Cornelius will be able to outcharm, outwit and outmaneuver his fellow students to mentor the winning tribute. The odds are against him. He's been given the humiliating assignment of mentoring the female tribute from District 12, the lowest of the low. Their fates are now completely intertwined. Every choice Cornelius makes could lead to favour or failure, triumph or ruin. Inside the arena, it will be a fight to the death. Outside the arena, Cornelius starts to feel for his doomed tribute and must weigh his need to follow the rules against his desire to survive, no matter what it takes. I recently just finished the Hunger Games series, like last year, I think I read them. So I'm a bit sort of late to the whole Hunger Games party. So I thought I would get this one. Plus it's just a really pretty book. I do like pretty books. And I'm really into long books at the minute. I've read a few long books lately. Quite a few. I might do a video about that in the next couple of weeks of all my long books that I've been buying lately. Because I have read some, I've read some chunkers recently. So yeah, this is one that probably everybody knows about. The next one is a book that I knew absolutely nothing about, and I am part of a book group on Facebook called the ABOS book group. It's a private Facebook group for a box of stories, which is sort of like a subscription box of books that you can get every month, or you can just get like one-off books, and I think you get 4 books in a box, and you can either get it each month or just sort of as a one-off. And this private group, I had put in like some light-hearted reading recommendations because I'd read a lot of murder mysteries and thrillers and things like that, and I was like, I just need some light reading. And somebody, a lovely lady on there, I can't quite remember her name, I think it's Lindsay, I want to say Lindsay, I think she was called Lindsay. She recommended The Dalai Lama's Cat, and this is by David Michie. And I read this book, I got this book maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I read it in a day and a half, and I absolutely adore this book. This is my favourite book of all time ever. I fell in love with this book. This book is written from the perspective of the Dalai Lama's cat, and it is all about sort of his life and sort of how he lives and what it's like to be the Dalai Lama's cat, but it also has sort of simple, easy to understand Buddhist teachings throughout it. And I really loved it, so much so that I am currently reading the second one, and I've just bought the third one so I can carry on the series straight away. I'll read the back for people who don't know anything about this. This is one that I knew absolutely nothing about. I didn't even know this book existed, and now this book is one of my favourite books in the world ever that I've ever read in 32 years of living. The back says, how would the Dalai Lama react when presented with the gift of a dead mouse? A malnourished slum kitten is carried back to this beautiful sanctuary by the Dalai Lama himself. Her arresting blue eyes are slowly shown everything in the Buddhist leader's life, timeless wisdom that comes only in the quietest moments between animal and man. You'll follow His Holiness's cat as she rubs up against Hollywood stars, teaches lessons at the feet of Buddhist masters, and learns how a bodhisattva deals with life in the 21st century, and soon see why a cat has the best vantage point on the fragility and beauty in all humans. The Dalai Lama's cat is funny and light, but contains spiritual lessons that will ignite your curiosity and reflection. There's nothing really more to say about this. Buy it, read it. It is the best thing you will ever do in your life, in the history of reading. This has given me so many life lessons and taught me so much. And it's a short book. It's only, I want to say, 216 pages. So for that short of a book, it really, really does pack a punch, and it makes you think. And it's, you know, it's very thought-provoking. It makes, I want to be a Buddhist after reading this book. That is what this book has done to me. I want to be a Buddhist. Like, I can't say any more. Buy the book, read the book. It will change your life. It is the best book ever. And if it wasn't for Booktube and Bookstagram and Facebook groups or anything like that, I would not know that this book existed. So I am so, so, so thankful to the person who recommended me this. Like, she's in there because she gave me this book. The next one is probably one that you have seen a lot of over Booktube and Instagram, and that is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This again is a very short book, and this is a book about two sisters, and one of the sisters is a serial killer, and she keeps on killing her boyfriends. And then one day she goes to her other sister's place of work and sort of falls in love or in lust with this doctor who works at the place where her sister works, and they end up starting a relationship, and then things go from there. And it's looking at family relationships, it's looking at sisters and the dynamics between sisters, it's looking at race, it's looking at sort of things that you would do for other people, even though you know things are wrong, you'd still do things, and you kind of feel trapped to do things sometimes, but you have to do it because blood's thicker than water and all this kind of thing. And the sister, the one who's not the serial killer, she feels very conflicted throughout this book, and you can really tell that. It is very quick, it's very fast paced, sort of the chapters are really, really short. So it's almost sort of like cinematic scenes rather than sort of like a full chapter, because I think the chapters are like 1 or 2 pages, they're not very long at all. But this is one of the best books, and there's humour in it as well. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, I think, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I read it in just a couple of days, and it was really, really good. I'll read the back for all of those who maybe haven't heard of this. When Karidi's dinner is interrupted one night by a distress call from her sister Ayula, she knows what's expected of her: bleach, rubber gloves, nerves of steel, and a strong stomach. This will be the 3rd boyfriend that Ayula's dispatched in self-defence, and the 3rd mess that her lethal little sibling has left Korede to clear away. She should probably go to the police for the good of the menfolk of Nigeria, but she loves her sister, and as they say, family always comes first. Until that is, Ayula starts dating the doctor when Korede works as a nurse. Korede has long been in love with him and isn't prepared to see him wind up with a knife in his back, but to save one would mean sacrificing the other. This is a great book, and I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, give it a go. Again, it's one that I wouldn't have heard about if I wasn't on Booktube. The next one that I have got to talk about is Ready Player One. I haven't read this book yet. It has been on my shelf for quite a while. I'm not sure how long, but it's been on my TBR for quite a while. And this is actually been made into a film, I believe, now. And this is about I think it's kind of like, I know it's a dystopia, I'm trying to see if it says anything. It's the year 2044 and the real world has become an ugly place. We're out of oil, we've wrecked the climate, famine, poverty and disease are widespread. Like most of humanity, Wade Watts escapes this depressing reality by spending his waking hours jacked into the Oasis, a sprawling virtual utopia where you can be anything you want to be, where you can live and play and fall in love on any of 10,000 planets. And like most of humanity, Wade is obsessed by the ultimate lottery ticket that lies concealed within this alternate reality. Oasis founder James Halliday, who dies with no heir, has promised that control of the Oasis and his massive fortune will go to the person who can solve the riddles he has left scattered throughout his creation. For years, millions have struggled fruitlessly to attain this prize, knowing only that the riddles are based on Halliday's obsession with 80s pop culture. And then Wade stumbles onto the key to the first puzzle. Suddenly he finds himself pitched against thousands of competitors in a desperate race to claim the ultimate prize, a chase that soon takes on terrifying real-world dimensions and that will leave both Wade and his world profoundly changed. So I saw this on Booktube, I've also seen this on Instagram, but also my sister recommended me this as well. She said, if you like dystopians, give this book a go. She read it, I think she gave it 5 stars on her Goodreads, and she said it was one of the best books that she's read. So I saw this in a discount bookshop and I bought it. I still haven't read it. Hoping to get to it very, very soon. But yeah, I am really intrigued by this. I mean, on the front cover it says Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. Like, is there anything better than that? I really don't think there is. If there is, let me know. Bet you there isn't. The next one is a classic. This is Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. This I have seen on Simon's channel of Savage Reads and Lauren's channel of Lauren and the Books. They were the two people who I saw this on, and the way they talked about it made me buy this book. They said it was atmospheric, beautiful, gothic, lovely, mysterious, thrilling, beautiful. You know, the way that is it Mandalay is described. I dreamed of Mandalay last night. I dreamt I went to Mandalay again is the very first line. And this is basically a story. I mean, most people probably know what this is. I hadn't heard of this properly. I'd kind of like heard about it a little bit, but not much, as I was like growing up. But then when I came and started watching Booktube and stuff, that was when I really sort of found out about it and thought, oh my god, that sounds really good. So it's about, I thought it was about someone called Rebecca, but it's kind of not. Not really. Is a bit. I'll read the back. Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay again. Working as a paid companion to a bitter elderly lady, the timid heroine of Rebecca learns her place. Life is bleak until on a trip to the south of France she falls in love with Maxime de Winter, a handsome widower whose proposal takes her by surprise. Whisked from Monte Carlo to Mandalay, Maxime's isolated Cornish estate, the friendless young bride begins to realise that she barely knows her husband at all, and in every corner of every room is a phantom of his beautiful first wife, Rebecca. Rebecca is the haunting story of a woman consumed by love and the struggle to find her identity. I am reading this autumn. I was told by both of those booktubers that I saw this on their channel, I was told autumn was one of the best times to read this just because of the atmosphere and the way it's talked about and sort of the gothic feel and the mysterious feel. They said the sort of autumn winter, sort of that kind of weather was the best time to read this. So I am saving this for the autumn season, probably, where I could have a blanket and some candles and a hot chocolate and just wrap myself up and live in Rebecca land. The next one that Booktube made me buy is The Night Circus. Now, I saw this again on a lot of people's channels, but the main person whose channel and review that I saw this on, that was sort of the one that made me buy it, was Mackenzie Lane's channel. She said this was one of her favourite books of, I think it was 2018 she read it. Maybe, yeah, 2018 I think Mackenzie read it. I think, I could be wrong, but she said it was one of the best books that she'd ever read. It was magical, it was beautiful, there was a lot of magical realism in there, which is one of my favourite genres. I love magical realism, and I love sort of magic and stuff like that. And this is by Erin Morgenstern. I believe this is her debut novel. I could be wrong on that, but I also believe that this is set in sort of autumn. I think, I might be wrong, but I think it is. But I've heard it's really beautiful, it's atmospheric, it's beautifully written, it's thought-provoking, there's some lovely quotes in there, and it just kind of takes you away and sort of cuddles you and envelops you in love and happiness and light. So that is one that I hope to get to soon as well. The second to last, we're almost there guys, is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. This is the first book in a series of 7, I believe, and each one of the books follows a different sister. And this one is following the first sister, who is called Maya. And this is based on the mythology of the 7 sisters of the Pleiades, the well-known star constellation next to the famous belt of Orion. I love myths. I love mythology. I love classical mythology. I love any mythology and folklore and fairy tales and things like that. I really love and I really enjoy. So when I saw that there was this book, this is the old cover. They've all got like new covers now, but this is the old cover. Because I bought this quite a while ago. I have started reading this. I didn't finish it, but I did start it. I can't remember where I got now. I got quite far. And I really enjoyed it. I can't actually remember why I stopped reading it now. Probably because another book kind of overtook it. But I saw this and I read that it was sort of based on mythology. And I was like, yes. Again, it's a real chunker, but, you know, worth it. What I read, I really enjoyed. So I'll read the back for all of you that don't know about it. It says, Maya Diapolis and her 5 sisters gathered together at their childhood home of Atlantis, a fabulous secluded castle situated on the shores of Lake Geneva, having been told that their beloved father, the elusive billionaire they call Pa Salt, has died. Maya and her sisters were all adopted by him as babies, and discovering he has already been buried at sea, each of them is handed a tantalising clue to their true heritage, a clue which takes Maya across the world to a crumbling mansion in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Once there, she begins to put together the pieces of where her story began. 80 years earlier, in the Belle Epoque of Rio, 1927, Isabella Bonifacio's father has aspirations for his daughter to marry into aristocracy. Meanwhile, architect Heiter de Silva Costa is working on a statue to be called Christ the Redeemer, and he will soon travel to Paris to find the right sculptor to complete his vision. Isabella, passionate and longing to see the world, convinces her father to allow her to accompany him and his family to Europe before she is married. There, at Paul Landowski's studio and in the heady, vibrant cafes, she meets ambitious young sculptor Laurent Brulé and knows at once that her life will never be the same again. So, yeah, this is the first one, and this is following Maya. And then there's, I don't think she's brought them all out yet. I think she's brought 5 out. I think there's 5 of them out already. and I have this one, and then I am going to read it. But this is one that I hadn't really heard of until I saw most of these on Bookstagram. These have been going around on Bookstagram very recently, actually, and everyone's been saying that they're really, really good. So it's kind of giving me the want and will to sort of start reading it again. Because I did start it, and what I did read, I really, really enjoyed. So I honestly don't know why I stopped reading it. I have no idea. No idea at all. But yeah, this is one from Bookstagram that was one that I found quite recently, actually. And I was like, oh, I've got that book, the first one. And everyone said that the whole series was amazing. So I thought, hey, I've got it. So I'll give it a go. The last one is one that I had never heard of in my life until I watched Jess. Was it Jess? I think it was Jess on Sunbeam's Jess channel on YouTube, and she had read this and said that she really, really, really loved it. This is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and this is magical realism. I think this is kind of like what it is. It's kind of historical, magical. I think there's a bit of mythology in there as well, but apparently it's written beautifully, and it's just a really nice book. So I'll read the back, because this is one that I knew absolutely nothing about. I didn't even know that this book existed until I watched it on Jess's channel. But as soon as she spoke about it on her review, I was like, that is a book that sounds right up my street. So I'll read the back for all of you who've never heard of it. Pipes and kettle drums herald the arrival of gypsies on their annual visit to Macondo, the newly founded village where Jose Arcadio Buendia and his strong-willed wife Ursula have started their new life. As the mysterious Melquiades excites Oliano Bendia. It's translated from Spanish, so there's lots of Spanish words in here that I don't know, but I'm doing my best, guys. So, as the mysterious Melquiades excites Aureliano. Oh my god, I'm so awful at this. I didn't think this through when I said I'd read the back. Aureliano Bendia and his father with new inventions and tales of adventure. Neither can know the significance of the indecipherable is true, manuscript that the old gypsy passes into their hands. Through plagues of insomnia, civil war, hauntings and vendettas, the many tribulations of the Buendia household push memories of the manuscript aside. Few remember its existence, and only one will discover the hidden message that it holds. But a lot of people have said it's the most magical book they've ever read. It's beautiful. This is translated from Spanish, I'm assuming, yeah, by Gregory Rabassa. And I don't know if this is his first novel. No, it's not. Oh no, this is quite a... Oh yeah, this definitely isn't his first novel. So, anyway, and I really like this front cover as well. This was a reason why I bought this book. The review helped, but this cover clinched it, I tell ya. It's a parrot. It's a parrot. I like parrots. Not sure why I like parrots, but I do like parrots. And this is, I believe this is a standalone. It's not part of a series. It's not sort of part of a trilogy, or books don't follow on or come before it or anything. I think you can read his books sort of in any order. And yeah, I've heard really good things about it. It's even got a little family tree so you don't get lost. Because one thing that I heard about this book is quite a lot of the characters have got the same name, like a lot of the women are called the same name and a lot of the men are called the same name, so it's kind of difficult to sort of remember who's who, which I think is why they put the little, yeah, because just on here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 Jose's and someone called Aurelio Jose as his middle name. So just in this little section of family, there's 4 Jose's that get mentioned in this book. So how I am going to figure out who's who, I have no idea. But yeah, apparently this is the greatest novel in any language of the last 50 years. So, you know, that's a glowing review if ever I heard one. So yeah, I mean, this is one that, like I said, I knew absolutely nothing about. I saw it. Sunbeam's Jess, her channel, she does a lot of books that aren't very mainstream. So if you want books that you haven't seen on sort of everybody else's channel or anybody's booktube or anything like that, I would definitely recommend Sunbeam's Jess, she's called. She's really good. She's an English, I think it was PhD or master she was doing at uni, and she started talking about books, and most of them just, I've heard of like probably 5% of them that she talks about. They are books that, I don't know if she sort of found them through her course that she was doing at uni or what, but a lot of the books that she talks about are not mainstream. They are, some of them are translated fiction, some of them are just fiction by sort of smaller, sort of more unknown authors. So if you want something really different to read, like for me, this was the first book that I picked up by her. I have got a few more recommendations from her that I've picked up since, but this was the first one that I ever got from her channel. But I watch her channel religiously. Every time she does a book video, I watch it, and I watch it about 6 times because the way she talks about books is just amazing. So yeah, they're my 8 books that Booktube made me buy. Yeah, hopefully I'll get to them soon. Like I said on previous videos, I have a big TBR pile, and I just seem to be buying more books and adding to that pile without reading books, which is, it's bad because I just kind of keep buying and don't read, so my piles just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But that's the life of a bookworm, and that is me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really sorry about the light. It's starting to get dark. I'm doing this quite late at night, so I'm kind of losing the light, so it's probably a good idea that I'm stopping now. So like I said, in the next couple of weeks I will be back and ready with my weekly book reviews and recommendations and everything. COVID-19 and being in quarantine and a lockdown and having to homeschool, and then there's summer holidays and having my kids and my husband, it's all just kind of made everything go a bit wonky. So I'm really sorry, but in the next couple of weeks I will be back, and I will be back weekly. So yeah, if you want to talk about anything with me, please leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up, and if you really like what you see, please hit subscribe. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.